Barcelona is once again on the brink of a transfer sensation. Nico Williams is practically packed. Ronald Araujo is in the crosshairs of top clubs, and young talent Rooney Barca might become the next Yamal. What's happening in Catalonia? Real news, hot rumors, exclusive insider info, and even some juicy gossip. It's all in this episode. You'll find out who Barca is ready to sell to register Williams, why La Liga is once again blocking Laporta's ambitious plans, and who might be Flick's next star signing. Don't miss it! Amid this summer's intense transfer activity, Barcelona has found itself at the center of one of the most talked-about deals, the signing of Nico Williams from Athletic Club. Despite financial constraints, the Catalan club has already reached a personal agreement with the player, but the path to his registration remains complicated. This is reported by reputable sources such as Barça Blaugranes, AS, El País, SI.com, Bavarian Football Works, and others. According to AS, Williams has agreed to a 6-year contract with a net annual salary of around 7 to 8 million. Barcelona president Joan Laporta even declared that the club is on the verge of signing a player who excites us greatly. However, the deal is hitting a wall due to La Liga's strict wage cap regulations. The club must free up financial space, and Williams' registration depends directly on the sale of other players, most notably Ansu Fati, Araujo Christensen, and others whose futures remain uncertain. According to Bavarian Football Works, Barca is negotiating with Athletic to pay the release clause in installments, a deferred payment method that would help avoid a lump sum payout of the $62 to $63 million buyout. Williams reportedly supports this plan, but Athletic has yet to agree to such terms. Meanwhile, in Munich, interest in the player remains. Football Espana and Catalans report that Bayern Munich's sporting director Max Eberl has urgently returned from the U.S. to speed up negotiations and evaluate the potential to intervene in the deal. Despite Williams having previously turned down Bayern, the German club is still monitoring the situation and is ready to step in if the Barca deal collapses. According to Barça Blaugranes, Athletic fans are already growing tired of the rumors and uncertainty. Williams himself, per AS and Bavarian Football Works, is fully committed to joining Barcelona, and even personally asked his club to be flexible on payment terms. For Barca, time is of the essence. The club wants to finalize the deal by mid-July, when pre-season training begins. There is still hope the transfer will go through, as the club continues to work actively on offloading players and securing additional revenue, including leasing out VIP seats at their temporary stadium. In summary, the situation remains tense, but clearly directed. Nico Williams has made it clear that he wants to be part of Barcelona's new project, and the club is doing everything it can to make this ambitious transfer a reality. It now all depends on whether the Catalans can meet the financial requirements before the deadline. Amid the intense transfer expectations surrounding Barcelona, La Liga president Javier Tebas has significantly dampened the excitement of the fans. On June 17, 2025, Tebas made a clear statement. As of now, Barcelona does not comply with the 1-1 rule, meaning the club is spending more on salaries than its income allows. As a result, it is currently impossible for Barca to register even already agreed deals such as those with Joan Garcia and Nico Williams. This has been reported by Barça Blaugranes, Yahoo Sports, Managing Barca, and others. Tebas explained clearly, signing a player or even paying for a transfer is one thing, but registering that player in La Liga is another. Registration requires compliance with financial regulations, specifically, maintaining the correct ratio of the wage bill to club revenue. In Barcelona's case, this formula is currently violated, even though the club significantly reduced its wage expenses last season, from $382.7 million to $97.9 million. However, their loss limit was also reduced, and the club now ranks only 7th in La Liga in terms of available salary cap space. La Liga's recommendations are firm. Barcelona urgently needs to free up salary room. Among the possible solutions is the sale of key players, including Ronald Araujo and Araujo Christensen. However, it is still unclear whether even selling one of them would be enough to offset the new budget strain. Barca President Joan Laporta has already responded to Tebas's statements, attempting to reassure the public. According to him, the club is working on a solution, and the situation is not as critical as La Liga portrays it. However, as noted by AS and Sports.ru, the specific details of the financial plans remain undisclosed, meaning there is currently no transparency. Against this backdrop, it becomes clear why Barca is delaying the official announcement of Williams' signing, despite having reached a personal agreement and the player's full readiness. Everything now depends on whether the club can implement the measures suggested by La Liga and find the necessary financial resources in the coming weeks. Otherwise, Barcelona could find itself in a situation where expensive transfers are completed, but the players cannot be registered for use. Thus, Tebas's statements have become not only a reminder of La Liga's strict financial regulations, but also a direct challenge to Laporta and his management team. The coming weeks will be decisive in showing whether Barcelona can balance its ambitions on the transfer market with the cold calculations of financial discipline. Friends, I'd like to ask you to support this video with a like and a comment. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. While the voiceover is done with the help of AI, the script and video editing are created by a real person to make it as interesting as possible for you. Thank you for your support, and let's keep going. As this tense and increasingly delicate situation unfolds, it's becoming clear that Barcelona is on the verge of making tough decisions. And one of them may be selling a central defender. According to Grada 3, Barça Blaugranes, and Eurofootball.ru, the club is considering parting ways with either Ronald Araujo or Araujo Christensen to free up enough salary space to register Joan Garcia and Nico Williams. The case of Araujo is complicated by several factors. On one hand, he is one of the most valuable defenders in the squad. His market value ranges from $35 to $80 million, and his release clause drops to $65 million between July 1st and 15th, making a transfer particularly feasible during that two-week window. On the other hand, the sporting department, led by Hansi Flick and Deco, is firmly against his departure, viewing the Uruguayan as a pillar of the defense and a key piece in the new project. However, financial pressure is forcing the club to at least consider offers, especially those in the 60 to 65 million range, according to Yahoo Sports. Several European giants have shown interest in Araujo. Juventus is preparing an official bid and sees the defender as a vital reinforcement. Manchester United is reportedly exploring a potential swap deal involving Marcus Rashford, and is also willing to offer up to $60 million in a direct transfer. Chelsea is also active. According to Caught Offside, the London club is ready to meet the reduced release clause if the deal is done in early July. Bayern Munich hasn't ruled itself out either, although the German club is still only monitoring the situation, focusing on other targets such as Rafael Leao and Bradley Barcola. In parallel, the situation with Christensen appears less dramatic, but more likely to result in a departure. The Danish defender struggles with frequent injuries, earns around $12 million a year, and according to Soccer.ru and Passion Football, could even be sold for a symbolic fee, just to free up room in the wage bill. Flick has no objections to keeping him in the squad, appreciating his team spirit, but the final decision lies with Deco, who is leaning toward a sale. Christensen has drawn attention from clubs in Saudi Arabia and England, though no official bids have been made so far. At the same time, his transfer, even with minimal revenue, could be the fastest way for the club to ease its financial strain and move forward with registering new signings. A comparative analysis shows that selling Araujo would provide Barcelona with more substantial financial compensation, but at the cost of losing a key defender around whom Flick's backline could be built. Christensen, on the other hand, is less essential from a sporting perspective, and his sale would be a less painful and more realistic move. Essentially, the club faces a tough choice: maintain sporting stability or comply with La Liga's strict financial regulations. The coming weeks in Barcelona's offices promise to be filled with tense negotiations and difficult decisions, ones that will determine not just the registration of Joan Garcia and Nico Williams, but the very structure of the squad being built under Hansi Flick. Amid Barcelona's active efforts to strengthen the squad, despite strict financial constraints and the need to register already agreed transfers, more information is emerging about a potential third summer signing. According to renowned insider Fabrizio Romano, the Catalan club has entered the race for one of Europe's most talked-about young wingers, 19-year-old Rooney Bardghji from Copenhagen. According to Kellnow, ScoutingStats.ai, and Enforce the Sport, Bardghji is a classic right winger with clearly defined attacking qualities, explosive speed, excellent dribbling, and the ability to cut inside and finish with his left foot. His playing style is often compared to that of Lamine Yamal. Both players love to take on defenders and create unpredictability in the final third. That's why Barca sees him as a potential alternative or backup to Yamal during a tightly packed season. In-depth scouting reports published in Total Football Analysis and Ground News highlight Bardghji's football intelligence. Despite his age, he makes smart decisions under pressure and has a natural feel for the game near the box. Journalists also emphasize his ability to change the course of a match through individual skill and powerful counterattacks. This tactical flexibility makes him a particularly valuable asset for Barca, especially in a system that requires dynamic attacking options without sacrificing quality. Negotiations have already begun. According to Sports Yahoo, sporting director Deco is personally leading talks with the player's agent. The deal is being handled separately from those involving Nico Williams and Joan Garcia, and is described as an independent strategic project. What makes the situation unique is that Bardghji's contract with Copenhagen expires in December 2025. This gives Barcelona two options: try to sign him this summer for around $2 to $3 million, or wait until December to bring him in as a free agent. One thing is clear: Barcelona is walking a fine line between financial limitations and grand ambitions. Will Laporta manage to pull it off? And can Deco seal the deals of the summer? We're following every move. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss the next twist in this gripping transfer saga. Another blockbuster signing might be just around the corner.